93.7, Asheville.
Good morning. You're listening to the Blaine's World Show, heard each Wednesday morning here on the new WPVM LP in Asheville, North Carolina. You can also listen online at www.wpvmfm.org. I'm your host, Blaine Greenfield, and each week we focus on the Asheville theater scene as well as on the positive news and information about people and organizations in the Asheville area. And toward that end, it's my pleasure to introduce my first guest, and he is Blake Ellege. Is it how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Ellege.
Okay, and even waving to folks on Facebook Live. And Blake is a professional entertainer with BAE Entertainment, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but glad you could be with us.
Thank you, Blaine. I appreciate it.
And I should mention that Blake Anthony Ellege, as you'll see, is one of the most versatile, if not the most versatile performers in the Southeast. His ability to cross over between genres and makes him an amazing and captivating artist, as you'll see. And the question I always ask Blake when I meet somebody for the first time, especially an entertainer, is how did you get into this field? Like when you were a little 2-year-old in your case, did you know you wanted to be an entertainer?
Of course. I grew up in a family that was always surrounded by music and just completely engrossed in music. And at 2 years old, my mother was a church accompanist, and I was at church with her one night, and we had been singing at home, and I just looked at her during the service, and I said, I want to sing. So whenever the time for the offertory came around, she stood me up on the piano bench, and I sang all 4 choruses and all 4 stanzas of a hymn, and she said that everybody in the church, their jaws were hitting the floor, and that was kind of all she wrote. She was like, well, we have something here. So it was just kind of snowballed from that point forward.
Do we have a video clip of that performance?
No, back then, video capturing technology was, the video cameras, if they were portable, they were as big as a Volkswagen, and had to put a VHS down in it. So, but
you should do. Is your mom still around?
Yeah.
What you should do is get a piano and have you stand up on.
Yeah.
That would be a great Christmas gift for her.
That'd be funny.
Have her do the performance.
That'd be funny.
When you were a 2-year-old, you say, but what a great idea. So you started as a 2-year-old. Did you keep performing?
Yeah, at the age of 2, it was just kind of a really kind of weird experience. It was just spur of the moment. But from that point forward, just worked with voice lessons and stuff like that. And it wasn't until the age of 6 that I was signed to my first record contract and released predominantly Southern gospel music and sang Southern gospel music.
As a 6-year-old?
As a 6-year-old, and traveled and performed all over the U.S.
Well, that's another. Now, do you have that music available?
Yes, I do. I actually still have some of the albums that I released when I was 6 years old, but I released albums consecutively over the next 5-6 years as in my adolescence, And
how cool would that be? Well, that's another thing. Wouldn't that be great to have you do both, you play as a kid, 6-year-old, and then see if we progressed anything as well. What was your first acting gig?
My first acting gig, I did a whole bunch of little regional theater stuff when I was a child, but acted a lot and did some things at East Henderson High School when I went to high school, and did a production of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with a real good friend of ours, Chandler Smith, and actually played his father, Mr. Bucket, and because, of course, he played Charlie, and he did an amazing job doing that. But yeah, that was my first kind of official theater experience with some kind of grounding in a principal role. So.
Now, do you have a preference? I know we'll talk about many things you do. You're a musician, you're a performer, opera, a whole bunch of things. Do you have a preference as to what you like doing?
I really like it all. It's each one of the different facets of, the entertainment business has its perks. But it depends really on the experience and the production that I'm doing. I mean, there's some aspects of performing with a band and a live stage show that you don't get with the theatrical experience, and but there's some experiences with theatrical production that you don't get with a band. So,
There's something else you do, and I'm going to go out on a limb here.
okay.
But for some reason, can I ask you, do you also do Santa Claus at all?
Yes. This year we debuted my company, Appalachian Santa. It's a lifelong dream of mine, has been a lifelong dream of mine, to portray Santa Claus and be able to provide a service to the area that provides children with a Santa experience that they would not normally get. 9 times out of 10, if there is a Santa in a commercial setting, like in a mall or at a business, the child is just another number, in line. Whereas whenever we provide Santa visits, we take the time and dedicate time to each child that is there and make sure that, they have a really magical and lifelong experience.
Now, the Santa thing kind of surprised me when I saw you this morning because I knew you, I guess, through Facebook, through our mutual friend Chandler.
Right.
And I saw this, you have a beautiful picture. I'm sorry I can't show it to our listeners, but you have this beautiful picture of you on Facebook.
Right.
Great photo. And you have this magnificent look, and you're like this guy in his late 20s or something, you look like.
Right.
And then you come in the door, and I said, whoa, where's this other guy? Explain the change.
Well, it was a series of bleachings to get my hair to this color, at least for press photos.
You mean that's not your natural color?
No, it's not. I didn't get struck by lightning. I didn't have a really traumatic experience that turned it white. It was just a series of bleachings, and was able to use my natural hair and stuff. But for the season, we're going to be moving to some really, really expensive and really great-looking add-ins to my features and stuff as far as the beard and hair are concerned, and make it a really, really over-the-top Santa experience for the children.
And so after the season's over, after Christmas, you'll go back to your other look?
That's right, yeah. We'll be shaving off the white beard and dyeing the hair back, and it'll be back to old Blake.
Well, the good thing about young or old Blake, no, you're old Blake now. Going back to young Blake, I guess.
Yeah.
But the good thing about this look, I guess, you're not going to get caught in, I guess.
No. I've had several people. One instance, I've known a fellow musician for a while, and he walks up to me and has a 15-minute conversation with me. Doesn't even know who I am. So, I mean, nobody cards me, or nobody even questions my age at this point.
Like I said, when you came in, I had to take a double take because
Right.
I was looking for this one guy, and, well, you appeared. Yeah. Have you performed now? When you perform now, between now and then, not as Santa Claus, this will be the look?
This will be the look for the most part. It'll be a couple of slight changes as far as my appearance is concerned, but and that's just to facilitate the actual full-on Santa look whenever I'm in costume. So,
well, I guess also from music, so the difference between old Blake, I want young Blake, I
Right.
want old Blake or
Right.
something.
yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your music then too,
Okay.
because I knew of you as a very diversified background. You also have an opera background as
Yeah.
well. Did you study opera?
Yes, I did. I went to Brevard College for my undergrad to get a degree in voice performance there. Currently in the process of finishing my master's, looking around at other graduate programs here in North Carolina and the surrounding area, but working on completing a master's degree right now. So
In the same thing?
Yes, in opera performance. So.
Well, so now you've done opera?
Yes, done a lot of opera. I worked for a very long time with Asheville Lyric Opera here in
Okay,
Asheville,
great. Yeah.
and it was a great experience being able to work with them, broaden my horizons as an operatic performer and actor.
Well, I didn't know you then, but I think you said off the air you were in West Side Story with them.
Yes, did
It's-
West Side. I did almost every single production with Asheville Lyric Opera.
And the amazing thing that you can transform. You were Maria with them. Was that amazing transformation? How you did that? You know, I can't believe it.
That's funny.
You weren't Maria.
No, of course not.
Okay.
You're funny.
But but that was great production, and I saw several of their productions as well.
Yeah.
Do you still do opera?
I do. I do. When I was in Virginia a couple of months ago, did a production of The Merry Widow up there, and played the role of Baron Mirko von Zeta, which was actually not. It was predominantly an acting role. It wasn't a singing role. So it was a really, really cool experience, and had a lot of fun with that.
Have you done other acting other than opera?
I've done some regional theater and stuff like that, but predominantly my wheelhouse, and as far as my acting experience, has been in opera. So.
Okay, so you're still available. You're still doing opera.
Oh yeah.
But then you were telling me, I couldn't believe it. You're in currently 8 different groups now?
So, so as of now, if nothing changes, which it doesn't sound like it, if anything, we're going to be adding to the list. But right now, I have 8 different bands that I'm working with, or I'm the front man for, or a part of in some way. Each one of them in a different style and genre. They aren't the same whatsoever. Each one of them plays a different style of music and performs.
Well, what are some of the 8 different types?
So we have the Mojo Brothers Blues Band, which is a blues show band, kind of reminiscent of Sam and Dave and the Blues Brothers and that type of music.
Now, is that the one you mentioned to me earlier the week you were on another show on WPVM? Was that the one that performed?
No. The other band, the one that performed on that show actually this past Monday, was my classic country band, Blake Ellege and the Country Resonators. And we were on here with Spiro and Nicole. Hi, Spiro and Nicole. We were on there with them and had just a great time.
And that was on, I believe, Facebook Live, right? Because I saw that a little bit. And
Yeah.
So people can look at the videos and can find that too. Yeah.
For sure. The third band is Faded Jade. It's a top 40s dance band we use predominantly for company parties, corporate events, stuff like that. We have the Stardusters Jazz Quintet, which is a jazz ensemble, plays nothing but all the best great jazz hits from the American Songbook. I have a Southern gospel troupe, travels around and does gospel music. We have a brand new project that we just started working on this year. It's an oldies band called the Carolina Cats, and we play nothing but rockabilly and oldies music from the 50s and 60s, just great rock and roll music.
I was going to ask you about that too. Do you also play what I consider arguably the greatest rock song of all time, Happy Together? Do you do that?
No, we don't. No 60s kind of.
You said 50s and 60s.
Well, 60s rock.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Right, but yeah, we do all of the great kind of rock and roll hits from that era, and in addition to my operatic work and liturgical work, church work, and stuff like that individually, we only have one other band left.
Only one other.
And that is brand new to this year, and it's completely dependent on my transformation as Santa. It's a band called Santa and the Sleigh Boys.
I love it, yeah.
And we play nothing but Christmas music. And I am dressed up as Santa, and I have a band of wonderful performers and musicians that back me up. And it provides kind of like a theatrical type show along with nothing but your favorite Christmas hits with a live band. And it's a great experience.
I imagine the fun of that would be too that it would also encourage some sing along too.
Oh, it's completely sing along
is that
based.
a
People can chime in and sing along whenever they want to. People can get up and dance. It's all around probably one of the most just lock, stock, and barrel Christmas experiences that you can get hired for an event.
What a great idea, though. I
Yeah.
imagine that there'll be a demand for that. And so some of your music, too, even in that band, leads itself to dancing?
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah. All of the music. I mean, "Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree" is, has a great dancing beat to it. So,
Well, I've always wondered too, as a musician, do you like people who sing along with you
oh,
at a show?
they're in a performance setting. If a song has that blessing of familiarity, where it wants you to, sing along and stuff like that, and the band is receptive to that idea, I think that's a great thing. But there's a time to sing and there's a time to listen, and I think that's completely dependent on the environment.
Well, it's funny you say that. I remember the story. I once went to a cover show of Leonard Cohen songs with my brother and his wife, and his wife kept getting upset with my brother because he was belting out, singing along. And just what you say is a good point. It wasn't the time to do that.
Right.
You were there to see the performance,
Right.
not to hear my brother sing. So
Right.
that's the other extreme.
Yeah, but we, in a setting like that, I mean, we love to have the audience sing along, and it just brings an energy to the room that makes for a wonderful experience this time of year. So,
Tough question for you, given that is some eclectic group.
Yeah.
You said tough question. Out of all those 8 different types or whatever, do you have a favorite type of music you like performing?
I, for me, there, like I said earlier, if I didn't like it all, I wouldn't sing at all, and there are just too many great songs out there floating around that I love them all. I can't pick a favorite. I really can't.
Now, here's a question I always wonder about singers. Ballpark, how many songs would you say you know?
Oh my gosh.
Hundreds, thousands?
Hundreds of thousands. Like, I mean, in my 20 years of active performing, I mean, if it's from the repertoire of gospel music, country music, rock and roll, operatic works, Christmas music, I mean, all of these different genres. I mean, you're thinking about 2,000-3,000 songs that I've sang over the course of the past 20 years. It adds up, and
What always amazes me about a singer, Blake, is the fact that you guys, for the most part, memorize your stuff.
Right.
So I don't know about you, but I just love when they're not having a stand in front of them. Like when you're a little 2-year-old.
yeah, that's a big thing.
Yet, amazing. You said your mom accompanied you.
Right.
People who do the accompanying can always have it sheet music. It's okay.
Right.
But the guy who does the singing, he or she, for the most part, memorizes the stuff.
Right. Well, I mean, if you have a band, that is playing, and the front man or the front woman or the lead vocalist it has a stand in front of them, and it's eye level. There's a level of disconnect
I think so.
with
Yeah.
the audience, and there are some experiences that I've seen where it's a new song for the performer. I get that completely. If they're just learning a song, or if it's an original song that they want to bring to the public, please use your stand. Use that as a way to be able to convey your heart and mind and what you have put down on paper to the audience. But if you're singing old-time rock and roll and have a stand in front of you, not only is it a disappointment to the audience, but the venue owner, I mean, they're paying for live karaoke with a live band.
Right. That's a good
But
point.
it's we as frontmen and women and lead vocalists, we have a story. We have music that we have to give out to the people. We want to give them something, and having something trapping us like a stand, it closes us off.
That's what
But
yeah.
the musicians, we're talking about complex chord structures on guitars. We're talking about different modulations and inversions with keyboard parts that are completely reliant on charts and sheet music if the music is not memorized. And some musicians, they're hired out for individual performances, so they need to be able to use that, and that's a really, really great thing in that regard.
You even see in opera, though, that, again, it amazes me that you would get up there and you're doing your thing.
Right.
Yet the person playing the piano is most of the part time reading the music.
Of course,
you know,
yeah.
but you have to memorize it. you
Well,
know.
it's just, it goes back to common practice, with the operatic world, common practice. If you're accompanying or in the pit of an orchestra, you're going to be reading music because that stuff that you're playing, it's completely dependent on what's on the page, and it's nearly impossible to memorize.
I've always wondered about opera, especially the memorizing of the songs. It's tough enough for me to memorize English, but as
Right.
an opera singer, you have to memorize Italian and a whole bunch of other stuff as well.
Right.
Do you speak other languages?
I do not. I do not speak. I can speak conversational French, for the most part, but all the other languages like Italian, German, Russian, stuff like that. I can't speak it. I can sing in it, but I can't speak it.
Was or is that tough to memorize? German?
It is. German,
Or any language?
or any language, in Italian. Some are more difficult than others, but memorizing another language is difficult for the most part, whenever you're first starting, because there's a lot of, you have to go into the meanings of words that you're saying and stuff, so you can have the right inflection and portray the meaning of the certain words and stuff. So it's a challenge.
When you learn that kind of music, do you then translate it either before, after, or during in your mind as you're singing it, or it doesn't really matter?
Oh, well,
Coach?
whenever we talk back
Right.
and forth to one another, we have intent, we have
Right.
emotion, we understand what we're saying. So to be able to convey the text of a foreign language song, you have to have that same kind of background. You have to be pulling from somewhere to be able to understand what you're saying in that language. So 9 times out of 10, well, 10 times out of 10, we have to translate and understand what we're saying so that we can put the emotion and the emphasis into what we're saying so that it's conveyed properly.
Now, you mentioned also, we'll call it, you're the front man for all these 8 different groups, or just some of them?
All of them except for I kind of am the front man for the Mojo Brothers. We swap out duties a lot as far as performing. Have a wonderful I consider him the co-front man, but John Trufant is an amazing guitarist and vocalist and a very good friend of mine, and he and we swap out duties as far as singing and performing in that band, but for the most part, all of the other bands are completely, fronted by me.
Now, talking about that role, too, so not only are you a musician, but even before you did the Santa Claus thing, you're also an entrepreneur. You're running and,
Right.
and getting gigs and trying to promote these businesses. Do you like that part of the business?
It's daunting at times, especially trying to schedule, 30 different people collectively in these 8 different bands. I do everything myself. I book all of the performances myself. I do all of the press myself. Do all of the advertising myself, and it's hard. It really is, but it is extremely rewarding to be able to. I mean, this past summer, I had 78 shows in 90 days. It was, 78 separate performances in 90 days. And to be able to step back and look at that and say, you know what, I was able to pull that off. I did that. We had an amazing summer. We had amazing shows. That makes it all worth it in the very end.
And the key is just knowing you a little bit. It seems like you have fun doing it also.
Oh, I have so much fun. I have so much fun doing it. There's really no other way to, spend my time. I joke with other people. I say, I'm not good at anything else. I have to do this. It's my life. It's my life's blood, my passion. For
That's
sure.
cool to be able to do it and get paid for it, too.
Well, that doesn't hurt.
Yeah. And people, well, let's talk a little bit about that point, too. That people actually pay for music, can you imagine? Or,
Well, sometimes it's hard being a musician. There are a lot of people out there that don't have an education in music, that are really great musicians, but don't necessarily, ask for pay. And it makes it hard for a musician, especially in an area like Asheville, for bands to come out and play and get paid. And somebody will come in. It's a singer-songwriter that has great material. They'll ask a little bit less money than a six-piece band, you know. So it's kind of hard to be able to get everyone paid in a band and make money at it. But finding a venue and being able to have, you know, your fan base come out and we sell tickets, having that environment to play in, you know, we're able to make money and everyone
I
is
saw an
happy.
approach which I thought was kind of good. I'd like to get your reaction to it. Was they have on a in a food place, you know, a restaurant, they have the amount, then they have tip for the server. But then I thought it was a great idea. They also had another line, tip for the musicians.
That's amazing.
But have you ever seen that? I saw
Oh,
that.
no, I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it
I
for
saw
sure.
that on Facebook. I said, what a great idea.
Yeah.
Because people, I just always get annoyed by it, but with recognizing the efforts of performers, they don't realize how much goes into it. And that's forgetting just getting there 2 hours early, setting up everything, bringing all the stuff, unpacking afterward. You also have to do something called practice. You know, it takes you a while to you don't just appear at a gig. It takes you a while to get ready for that gig.
There was this running joke, and I'm probably going to completely butcher it, but it was this little kind of meme or whatever on Facebook. It says, spends $45,000 on a music education, loads up $500 worth of sound equipment and $2,000 worth of musical instruments into a $20,000 car and spends $50 in gas, arrives 2 hours early to set up, and plays 3 hours to make $50.
Yeah, I think that's the one I've seen, something like that. You know, but can you imagine? But that's what it breaks down to.
Yeah,
you know?
it does.
It breaks down to, it's a shame, but it probably breaks down, if you looked at it, to what, about $2 an hour or something.
Right.
But
You know, but being able, this is where we're at, Blaine, though. Regardless of making money, I mean, the money is great. Okay, you know, I've put in the work and the education to be able to provide a standard of music and standard of service and performing to wherever I go. But, you know, if I get paid for it, great. But at the end of the day, whenever it all is over, if I'm able to stand up on stage and give someone something that they can take home with them, whether it's a song that I sang that they're going to be humming at work a couple of days after the gig, or if I sing a song that takes them back to that moment that they heard that song for the first time, or if I sing something that moves them and helps comfort them. You know, it's the silent masses and you know, the unnamed people in the audience that take something home with them, that are changed for the better, that actually make what I'm doing worthwhile.
that must be pretty cool, you know, to see them smiling, clapping, and
For sure.
actually stand up afterward. You know, they enjoyed your performance. you
Yeah,
know.
it's great.
Is any of your stuff, we'll talk about getting in touch with you, but is any of your stuff, do you have CDs or do you have iTunes stuff?
Yeah, all of my music and albums that I've recorded can be found on my website, purchased on my website, direct download, MP3 format from my website.
I'll mention the website is?
My website is www.blake, B-L-A-K-E, Ellege, E-L-L-E-G-E, music.com. So that's www.blakeellegemusic.com.
Okay. And also you're on Facebook. I know you're pretty
Yes,
active
I
on
am.
Facebook
Yeah,
as well. They
you
get more
can-
information about that as well.
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook, the Blake Ellege, Blake Anthony Ellege, professional entertainer, and you can find all of my bands on Facebook as well, the Stardusters, the Carolina Cats, Mojo Brothers, Blake Ellege and the Country Resonators. You can find all of them on Facebook for upcoming show dates and performances.
And what's cool about it is that you can even memorize all those bands, you know. I was impressed. Down the road, what can we look for?
Down the road, December is going to be filled with a lot of great performances. At least half of the bands that I'm active with are going to be performing at least once in the month of December. Lots of great opportunities for Santa, for the children to come see Santa at locations in and around the Asheville area. Going to be performing at the Block Off Biltmore here in Asheville. going to be performing, have a couple of little special performances here in Asheville as well. But all of that information can be found online on my website or on my Facebook page.
Including the Santa information as well.
That is correct. All of the Santa performances and musical performances will be listed together in the same place.
Blake, I'd like to thank you for being my guest this first half hour on the Blaine's World Show.
Thank you so much,
And I
Blaine.
look forward to being in touch.
Absolutely.
Okay, buddy.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.
Okay, as Blake works his way out of the studio, I'll tell him to get out of the studio. I should mention that underwriter support for WPVM is made possible by the French Broad Food Co-op, a locally owned grocery store focusing more on people than profits by providing living wages, supporting local farmers and producers, and being community owned. More information on the web at French Broad Food Co-op. I'd like to now recognize some upcoming theater productions that will be happening in the Asheville area. And one of them is the Asheville Choral Society is going to have its Yuletide Candlelight Show, our 4th annual celebration of the season. That'll be on Friday, November 30th at 7:30 p.m., Saturday, December 1st at 4 p.m., and that'll be at the Trinity Episcopal Church in Asheville. You can look up the Asheville Choral Society for more information. In addition, a show I think I'll be seeing tonight, tomorrow night, is The Lion Winter, and that's going to be at Brevard Little Theater, November 30th to December 16th. And for more information about that or tickets, you can go to the BrevardLittleTheater.org. It's now my pleasure to introduce my second guest of today's Blaine's World Show, and he'll also be talking about a show that you might want to check out. And he is Brad Owen, who's the Special Events Director for the ABCCM, the Asheville-Buncombe County Christian Ministry.
Close. That was pretty good. Asheville Buncombe Community Christian Ministry.
Ministry, okay. And I'd like to, first of all, thank you for coming on board.
Oh, thank you. I'm really pleased to be here.
And she mentioned that Brad is married, father of 5, master's level. He has master's level in clinical psychology, arranges 7 core events a year to raise funds, and volunteers for 6 core ABCCM ministries, serving 60,000 people in Buncombe County area. And now one program, Veteran Services of the Carolina, serves 26 Western North Carolina counties.
Yeah.
Background in playwriting, theater, photography, videography, and a recovering sinner and child of God. That's a mouthful, Brad, but the question is this. I always ask, you may have heard me ask my first guest today, how'd you get into this whole field?
Oh, well, that was sort of a giant change of my career after being, oh my goodness, over 20 years as a provider and then working in managed care for about 10. We had a subsequent layoff, and life kind of pushes you onto the sea of change. And so as I was on the sea of change, I was volunteering at Grace Community. We were doing a Middle Eastern dinner for refugees and refugee agencies. And so since I'm half of me is Lebanese, I said, well, yeah, I can cook that, but I'll need a cook team of people. I would put it together. We had 125. We did stuffed grape leaves and really had a great time putting all that together. And one of the ladies in the cook team said, hey, you mind if I give you, well, her voice wasn't that deep, but you mind if I give you your name to ABCCM? I said, sure. So I interviewed, and I said, wow, your events are huge. And I was doing this one thing in my life, and I do this at a smaller scale, but you guys do it at a huge scale. And they took a chance on me. And so my year anniversary was October.
Oh, is that super? So you're relatively new with ABCCM.
I still have a little objectivity left in me, yes.
But what's so cool about it is it seems to have then taken all the stuff you've done in your life before or like doing and putting it into this new job.
Yes, yes.
Which is really amazing.
Yes, that was really wonderful.
And so we'll talk about several things you're doing with the ministry, but one of the big things is now, and I want to find out more about it, it's something called Return to Bethlehem.
Oh, yes, yes.
And again, I'm guilty, I haven't been to it yet, but I plan to get there this year.
Sure.
What is it?
Return to Bethlehem is a live production, what we call environmental theater, where we actually, the best we can, set up the city of Bethlehem as we would understand it in the first century. It's a tractor trailer worth of set that on Monday I have a team, we're going to be reconstructing it again. We build the streets. We have just community volunteer actors, very just your average people that are in our ministry, or we're just in the community come, and they'll be part of it, where the actual audience walks through the city. They are part of the show. They receive a Hebrew name when they arrive. They go to the census taker, and the census taker literally writes it down and says, "Okay, you're going to go to the city." And as they move from shop to shop, the actors will come to them and show them what they're selling or what they're doing, and then they'll tell them there's a story in town amidst the Romans and sort of the hope for something to change in terms of Roman occupation. And as they move to the city, they hear a story about a couple that's coming to town, and they go from place to place, and it's about 25-minute trek through the streets and actors, and they have things they're offering them. The Pharisees will start yelling, and the prophets are there, and they're prisoners. They move towards the inn, and they get towards the innkeeper, and they tell him there's something going on that's down the way, and then they go into the manger. And we purposely, in this particular production, we use all the senses. So we do have live animals, not to be clever, but to have the smell and the sound. We have spices cooking that you can not know where the little crock pots are located. And we have the sounds of the city and people yelling. But when you get to the manger, we purposely make it dark. And when they go in there, we, God willing, will have enough babies this year because we don't want to stress them out. But when they look at a live baby with mom and dad or whomever's there, and they, Joseph says something, Mary has the last words, and they sit and they ponder, listen, hey, if this is all just the fun thing to do, like going to see the gingerbread houses, that is okay. We just want to have you like gingerbread houses or anything you would do at the Christmas holiday season. But some people do ponder that, if this, and I'm one of those kind of strange people that believes this actually was a story that came true, as J.R.R. Tolkien, paraphrasing Tolkien, they ponder, what if God parachuted behind enemy lines in this very odd form of a baby where nobody would be scared to come up to him, where stinky shepherds could just literally hang out with him, and yet he's there. And what if this really is as it's better than we thought? So that's what we hope they ponder. But really, it's also a gift that our 280 member churches give back to the community because they're all the actors and the people that are part of it.
Now, did you put the show on last year, or is this your first one?
We did. This is actually our 32nd. We're actually one of the longest running shows in North Carolina, period. You've got Lost Colony and Unto These Hills. This is our 32nd year.
But how about you?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So this is my second one.
Oh, second one, okay.
This is my second one.
Boy, I can just imagine the first one must have been an eye-opener for you.
Whoa, I'm telling you, I do theater at a smaller scale, in terms of community theater. And I was telling my boss, Scott Rogers, I said, and he handed me the keys to the tractor trailer set. I said, a lot of people these days want to do a 2- and 3-man show with like a stool and a light. Do you all understand what you're doing here? I got a crew. I mean, and a lot of these are volunteers putting it together, and some of the folks from also some of the staff. But I was like, Scott, this is really big. He goes, I know.
I mean, for you, especially last year,
Yeah.
we'll talk about this year in a second, but to come into this, and had you ever seen it before?
I did. So we did.
Okay.
So just as people, we used to bring our kiddos to the show, and it was kind of nice. But you don't see the scale of it till you're behind the scenes, and you go, upstairs we do music. So when people wait, I have to put music acts together upstairs, so they can get in the mood. We have people that sing a cappella, instrumentals, what have you, and so they have 30-minute sets. And they wait, so you've got that to arrange. You've got we also cater for the actors, just to thank them. It's a very thank you to them. So you have to arrange a lot of that. But we are literally quadruple casting. So like a lot of people double cast shows. Okay, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, two different divisions on Sunday, 2 different divisions on Saturday. Those are all casted. Some people like to do all of them, but we have to double, triple, quadruple cast.
And talk about how many people overall are involved in this.
So it takes about, especially on Saturday, about 50 actors. I need about 30 musicians, and then behind the scenes people. We're talking costuming, catering, set design, and then the tear down. And I'll be working on some new panels for the backgrounds that we'll be working on as we did a little bit different. So it's quite a lot of people, and that's why it's a gift back. It's not a fundraiser. It's just really a gift back to the community, but it does take a lot of volunteering.
I mean, it sounds, 200 people overall, 250.
I'd say if you from the word go, like when we drop all the stuff off Monday to when we tear down, strike, like there'll be other groups that'll come help us strike the set. I think 200 is a fair number, yes.
Now, I assume you're behind the scenes kind of guy. You're not in this at all, are you?
I don't know if I'm. Yeah. So
Well,
you
so
may
many-
see me. That's why I've got the little scraggly face. I do. We're sort of like roving directors,
Right.
where we'll help a child. Like sometimes a little kiddo needs a little encouragement. They're getting kind of tired, so we'll hand them a little mint and say, "Just open it real quick," or put your bottle of water behind this over here. So we try to support. So if I have to play a character, that means somebody isn't here today, and I could pretty much play everything but Baby Jesus.
Wow. Well, it'd be tough.
It would be tough. I'm a little husky.
Is
Yeah.
that- but so this is, I mean, must be some
Sure.
experience for also the volunteers, especially the performers. A lot of them, this is the first time they've ever performed.
It is. It's fascinating to watch. I have people that call me in October. Hey, I'm going to be the prophet, right? Yes, sir. They're like, it's in their heart. Or families who say, hey, I'll try it out. And suddenly they talk about it at Christmas dinner. And the next year, we have people from the veterans quarters that they'll say, hey, I need a couple of guys. Can you? And they'll be like, oh, I don't know. I haven't done this. And then they say, listen, it's a couple lines. You can even put it up your sleeve. Listen, it's not Les Miserables. Okay, but bring it from your heart. You wouldn't believe how people be like, oh, I had so much fun. I had no idea that it would be that easy. Because we like to make an environment that's not, cracking the whip. I've been in theater productions where it's a little more intense. This is more, you're on for maybe 30 seconds. Say one or two lines and look people in the eye, and they really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
The real test, I would imagine, too, and you can talk about this as well, is how many people were in, say, last year are going to be coming back this year. Do you have a big retention rate?
We do. I'd say that about 2/3 of our cast are former. They were former there, and we get about 1/3 new. And we're doing more and more. We want new people. I don't think anybody wants to swallow up every day. So we're really trying to reach out to folks. Say, give it a try, make a memory. Especially also in terms of our holy families, we call them the ones that have the live babies. That's people with babies that are birth to 4 months. So that can be a little bit of I'm a little concerned. I don't know my baby. Are they going to get sick? It's like no, nobody's going to touch them. And the donkey's very quiet. We put them over here. But they do year after year. If they would make it part of their Christmas routine, they would like to come back because it becomes a family memory.
The age range of people in this goes from what to what?
Oh well, from the baby Jesus, which by the way, some of our babies are now in the production. By the way, over the years, they're now
that
older.
cool?
Yeah,
Right.
that was very cool. So from babies, we do have some for children. The thing about children, like maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it's a little hard for them because each block, with the exception of the 90-minute block for Holy Families, each block's about 3 hours. So they have to be in character, so to speak, for 3 hours. And when we're busy, the groups of 7 will come through every 5 to 10 minutes, more like 5. And so it's hard for the little kids, but some of them can do that just fine. And then, of course, teenagers. The oldest person in the production, I would say they are in their 80s. We might have had somebody in their 90s, but in their 80s. And honestly, many times, especially the roles that people love to play, I have to replace some because they've passed away. They've done it so,
Oh, really? Oh.
I mean, they've made it part of their life.
The nerve, can you imagine? And they don't even ask you permission? You know?
That's right. They don't call.
Yeah. Or you should ask, when you check them out for the following year, you want like 2 death certificates, you want to make it official.
You do. You really do. You're like, oh my goodness.
The nerve of these people.
My goodness. And we do. We do remember them. But again, it becomes part of their life. But even more so if people aren't actors or performers in terms of musicians. I kind of looked at the top 10 things to do in Asheville. And I was like, oh gosh, we're not there. It's 32 years.
No, I'm saying because
Yeah.
I thank you for coming on board.
Sure.
Because another mutual friend, Hank Eater, told me about you. And I said to myself, this is quite some amazing thing.
Right.
Plus, I want to get to it, you know.
Sure.
But I've never seen it,
Right,
And
right.
I mean, the nice thing about this is also a story for any religion,
Absolutely.
any sex. It's just open to
Absolutely.
everybody.
Absolutely. It's and it's also accessible. We have when you start in the top of the church, there's an elevator that goes down. And certainly if we have groups that need a little more time, we'll space it out a little more. So sometimes we'll have groups that will come from, that have some mobility issues, and we'll slow that down just a little bit. But for the most part, it's a show that everybody can just be involved in, like you would go to any show.
Now, talk about the show itself. So, we'll talk. Well, first of all, where is it?
Sure. It's at Gross United Methodist Church. It's at 954 Tunnel Road. So you go past the mall on US 70 as if you're going to Swananoa.
Right.
And on the left, you'll see this beautiful brick church as you're moving east. And, of course, it's the one that people remember as having all the pumpkins in the yard during Halloween season.
Okay, and so that's church. So people go there, and they then the show runs when to when?
Sure. So on Thursday and Friday, it'll run from 6 to 9. On Saturday, it's 2 to 9. And on Sunday, it's 2 to 6. And, when they arrive at the church, there's a little desk there, and they'll say, okay, they'll give you a little idea of what's going to happen. And they'll say, hey, are you in a group? And you'll say, no. I say, okay, why don't I put you in this group over here? You get this Hebrew name. No, but I've got a big group. Sure, then you can all go together. What if I'm so big? We'll split you into two. And then they'll listen to music, and then up on the screen, there'll be like a screen, like a movie screen, a little small one, and they'll see a Hebrew name pop up, and then someone say, come on. And they'll come, and the person will say, hey, go out, let me take you down the elevator. And there's an elevator person goes down, that comes out. And then my narrator, who's a wonderful woman, she starts, and she introduces what you're about to see. So there's a little bit of an introduction. I'll throw you straight in. And then you take your name, and she says, all right, there's a Roman guard over there. Don't be scared. Go over there and go to the census taker and register your name, because that's what you're supposed to do. Under Augustus says we must register your name. So you walk over there, you register, and then you just start walking down the streets, and the actors will engage you.
How long is the walk? 25 minutes, you said?
About 25, 30-minute kind of walk through, and if it's a heavy crowd, we get about 1,000 a day. I'd say you might have a 30-minute wait, but again, hopefully the music is enjoyable. We have some very nice people that will play music for them.
In terms of going to the show, is there a, quote, best time would you recommend people to come to it so that they don't,
Sure.
if they don't want the crowds?
Sure. I would say that the earlier times on Saturday, like you would think of a matinee,
Right.
earlier Saturday and Sunday, so the 2 to 4 kind of time frame is nice to come. A lot of people will say, hey, I'll just come around 4 o'clock. We'll go through it, be done by 5, and get something to eat afterwards, and just talk, or go to the. Now let's go to the. Let's go see the gingerbread houses afterwards. Great. So you kind of make it part of a little tour, a little Christmas or holiday season tour.
And the same thing too. You said Sunday there was, what time are the hours?
We do
again?
2 to 6 on Sunday. 2 to 6 Sunday, and we go 2 to 9 on Saturday. We split the cast. We double cast it because Saturday's a pretty popular day. But Thursday, Friday are nice. Thursday you would consider yourself coming to a invited dress. It's our first night. We find all the bugs, but Thursday night's a nice show to come. It's like our opening, and then Friday, again, those are both 6 to 9.
And let's talk about, you mentioned the invited dress when the show starts. So this show starts when?
So it starts in terms of the time?
No, the dates.
Oh, the dates. Oh, yes. December the 6th is that Thursday. December 7th is the Friday. The 8th of December, Saturday. And, of course, the 9th being Sunday.
And it runs till when?
December. The 6th to the 9th. So we have 4 days. We have 4 days to have everybody come through.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
I just, as you're describing, I'm getting excited about it, but I just can't comprehend the largesse of this. And then you mentioned also, for listeners who aren't familiar with it, you're talking about double casting and triple casting. What is that all about?
So, for instance, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, in essence, let's pick one character. Let's say they're the innkeeper. And so I have an innkeeper on Thursday, Friday. I got 2 shots at innkeeper on Saturday and 2 shots on Sunday. So that's 2, 4, 6. Now, one person may say, hey, I love this. Like, actually, one of the guys who does innkeeper, he really does love it. And that's a key role. And he takes them, almost all of them. But what if, for instance, somebody was my basket weaver, the weaving station? A lot of times I have one name one night, another name another night, and then 2 different names on Saturday, 2 different names on Sunday. Just because people like to say, hey, I can do 2 or 3 hours. Is that okay? I say, absolutely. Don't worry about it. And then I'll think, okay, we got to get somebody for Saturday night. And so you try to mix and clip them in. So they're both people from the community. Many people from ABCCM, the employees, will come, and they'll do some work in it as well. And then people just from anywhere will be part of this production. And, of course, we're still needing some people. We still do, but we're working on it.
Well, let's talk about that. So if any of our listeners are interested, or anybody
Sure.
in Facebook Live out there is listening, and they want to get involved in it, you're saying you're still welcoming people?
Absolutely.
And what would they do on that?
Sure. So the two ways to do that would be through abccm.org. Through our website, you scroll to the bottom, and it gives you an idea of, and you click on it, and it has in a way that will get you to where you could volunteer, or just calling us 259-5300 and say, hey, I'd like to be part of that Return to Bethlehem, and they'll send the call to me or to my assistant Paige Pearson. And so we're still loading in those people to be in those roles. It's definitely Holy Families, because that birth to 4 months is a tight window for a baby, but we're still loading that, and some musical acts, some people who say, I just like to play. How about, can I do like maybe some Christmas pieces, or maybe some hymns, or just some instrumentals, and sure. Or someone says, I have a school of piano, right? I get a lot of those. They'll say, hey, we have a performance coming up. Can we use you guys as a rehearsal? It's like, absolutely. Come on down. Or we're a choir in town. Can we come? It's like, sure. So we do that.
So you'll take just about anybody who
We do.
contacts you.
We just say you have a 30-minute set. We would prefer it not be heart driving rock and roll, which is a different. I do different events for that. But it'd be soft instrumentals, or just get you in the mood to go into Christmas set. But a lot of times they'll bring a kids group, a little kids playing the rehearsal pieces for the recital. That's fine. All the way up to professionals that love to just perform.
How long is the rehearsal process?
Yeah. So we not long, because we don't have a formal. What we do is we say, if you've never been in the show, please come Tuesday and Wednesday when we're decorating the set. I'll walk you through it. I will look at the script with you. We usually give them ahead of time. I email them the script, and I say, listen, you're the innkeeper. Listen, if you haven't done this before, hey, just cut it out, okay? Memorize it in front of the mirror a couple times, and all right, just put it next to you, okay? People are so busy, and the crowds come. Look, after you say it about 5 or 6 times, you're good. Honestly, I'm so scared. No, don't be scared. Don't be scared. 5 or 6 times. I'm doing something on soon. I'm doing a sketch on Sunday, and that's 4 pages. So this is just like a few lines. You'll be fine, and people really do get it after the first few times they do it.
So, what I was asking you, so the show 6th and 9th, are you in rehearsals the beginning of that week, or are you going to have do you have a full rehearsal?
We don't. So you're actually on. You're on. Come Thursday, you're on. So, but what we do is, most people have done this so long, they're good. But if not, we say, hey, listen, come on Tuesday, Wednesday beforehand. So that'd be what, the 5th, 4th, 5th, and then I'll look at your script. I'll walk them through the set that we're building, and I'll say, this is where you're going to sit. And this is how you're going to. This is what you're going to do. Well, how do I say it? It's like, well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to be just a crowd person. Just say your line. And then I'll work with them, because I worked with actors before. And most of the time, they'll feel comfortable. The one thing for an actor is, yes, the words, but when you say the words in the environment, suddenly they comfort. They come. There's a comfort level. But because we don't have a formal rehearsals per se, it's more a walkthrough, we will make those new actors comfortable. And then the night of, we will reassure them as we move up and down the crowd. If let's say they're not loud enough, we'll say, hey, listen, you're doing an awesome job. Just make it a little louder, because a lot of people are older. They need to hear you maybe. Or you did a fantastic job. Keep doing it just like that. We do a lot of roving encouragement and direction during them. We don't leave them out to dry.
Then you have them in costume also?
We do. We have the costumes already there. We'll have them hung. We have costumers that will pull it for them. We have male female dressing areas they can go to, and then of course for the Holy Families with the baby, they have their own dressing area and their own costumer. We make sure they're extra cared for, because they're caring for a baby.
But I was saying, even that must be some logistical nightmare. That you have all the 250 or 80 people, whatever number of people,
Correct.
getting in costumes, out of costumes.
Yeah, we put up the racks. They gotta separate them out. They gotta put them up for everybody. The costumers will then help pull them. We also have headdresses. They have to they'll help lash them on for those who don't know how to do that. It's not bathrobe stuff. They're actually not bad. There may be a little more color than Bethlehem at the time, a little bit. We don't try to make it. It's not Hollywood. We don't do or Las Vegas-y. No glitter. We try, but we have all the costumes, and mostly it goes over clothing. We do have some sandals that we keep clean that people can wear, or bring their sandals. So we don't try to do tennis shoes. But you know what? Honestly, I had a man come up for the VRQ, a veteran. I needed him to be the rabbi, because my rabbi didn't show up. So I looked at him. I said, "Hey, but man, I need you to do rabbi." And he goes, "Oh, I've never done this." I said, "I understand. Let me take you out there. We'll dress you. I really think you're going to be fine." And so I got him seated. So I'm going through the crowd, and somebody says, "Hey, listen, he's having a difficult time." I said, "What's going on?" "I don't know. I can't hear him." So I walked over to him, and I listened. I couldn't hear him either. I walk up to him. I said, "Hey," the crowd wasn't around. "Hey, how you doing?" He goes, I said, you can look at it because you have like a little scroll. Your words are right here." He says, "I don't have my glasses." He says, "Can I wear them?" I said, "Yes, you can." I went and got his glasses. Listen, I know it's the first century, but we're just trying to tell a story here. The man was giving us his heart and soul. So he got his glasses, and he did great. He could see it. He did wonderful. He was actually one of our best. So we make some accommodations.
Talk about the animals, too. How many animals do you have in this?
Sure. So we have a donkey. So East Fork Farm, thank you to East Fork Farm. We'll have their beautiful donkey. They'll be part of our show. We'll have 2 sheep. We'll have rabbits. I'm still working on the rabbits. I think I got that. The chicks have been difficult. We usually have chicks because you want the sound of the peeping. We don't do full-on chickens because they'll free range, and who knows where they are in the church. So he leaves the peeping of small chicks. That was the hard part because they don't have a lot of chicks in the wintertime. So I'm still working on finding those. So chicks, rabbits, sheep, donkey, camel. So remember, in the actual story, I hope I'm not shattering dreams here. And I don't mind it. Hey, listen, I don't mind shows that put the camel in there. That's fine. Actually, they came a little bit later in the story in terms of in the biblical story. We used to have a camel outside the Episcopal Church downtown. Oh, people, it would draw in hundreds.
I can imagine.
Oh, my goodness. So I tried this year, and we're in discussion. But it's difficult for someone who has a camel because of the transportation and the fact they're not, they're going to have to tend to them. I don't know if we can, like, for instance, we set up a pen in a little area outside for the sheep when we're not there. We feed, and I have somebody that cares for them. Camel, it's a little dicey. I don't think I'll pull off a camel this year. But yes, we do have live animals. And again, it's not just to be clever. It's not heartwarming, though it is. It is kind of, again, the sights, the sounds, the smells. Because if you ever see a picture of Bethlehem, the actual city, it is a very drab, backwater, difficult-looking town. It's not pretty. It's one color. It's basically sandy brown.
If any of our listeners saw it last year and this year, does it change each year?
Not really. We try to keep it. We try to keep that very tight. The script really doesn't change.
Sometimes the animals might change.
The animals might change. Like last year, I had trouble finding my donkey. I talked to the lady who used to always bring it, and of course I was new. She says, "I don't have the donkey this year," and I said, Did it pass away?" Oh, she goes, "Oh, no. It's up in Spruce Pine."
Okay.
I said, "Okay, the donkey." When we had trouble finding him, we had about 6 or 8. It wasn't working out. So this year we started early, and thanks to East Fork, we'll have our donkey. But obtaining the animals is another one of those things that you got to do for the show.
So if any of our listeners also have any animals they'd like to let you use, where they want to dress up as camel, you're creative here, right? Or you'll go different.
We may need
directions.
2 people for that. Isn't there a front and back?
Right.
I don't know. Oh,
It's
yeah.
an idea for you.
Yeah. I may have to put on the suit. No, I think this year, if I don't have the chicks, I think we'll still go. Well, the show must go on. But yeah, the animals were pretty good. I think mostly it's babies. The babies are difficult because it's a tight window, and we're still looking for a few more musicians. But God brings things. He's bigger than me in the show, so we're doing fine. But we keep it consistent, like you would again Lost Colony, that kind of show. You want to keep it as consistent as possible.
And so the show goes on rain or shine?
It does, except in 32 years, last year we missed 2 because of snow.
Oh, really?
It was so unsafe. My executive director, Scott Rogers, we had to make the call like early in the morning and say we can't do it. That was it was unheard of. But rain or shine, absolutely. We just go because it's an all-indoor show.
Oh, okay, for the most
All
part.
indoor.
Brad, if any of our listeners, again, want to get more information about the show, best bet is to go to the website or Facebook page or both.
Yeah, both. A Facebook page has some postings there, but the website, abccm.org, you just scroll on down, you click Return to Bethlehem, and we've got some good information there.
Okay, and also at the Facebook page?
Yes,
same thing
Facebook
too?
page, absolutely. It's Paige Pearson, not because she had to have that name to work on our Facebook page. She has been really sprucing that up and making it more user-friendly.
And it sounds to me, at least, like it has to be one of the great things to go to for the Christmas season.
Sure.
If you want to see a show. And again, the beauty of it, all religions, faiths,
Sure.
sexes, anybody's welcome to it. Is that
Absolutely.
correct?
No, there's no again, we're portraying what we believe happened, but that's it. We don't do anything else but that.
Okay, I'd like to thank you, Brad Owen, for being my guest the second half
Absolutely.
hour on the Blaine's World Show.
Yes.
Also gave me a great idea for something to get to from December 6th, the 6th and 9th. Is
Yes,
that
6th
correct?
and 9th. Yes, sir.
Great. I'd also like to thank my first guest today, Blake Ellege, also to Amy Prisnach, my producer, and to Zuzu Welsh, who provided the music you heard at the beginning of the show, and you'll now be hearing at the end. Look forward to having you join me next Wednesday at 9 a.m. here on the new WPVM LP in Asheville, North Carolina. You can also listen or view us on the WPVM's Facebook page, and you can listen online at WPVMFM.org. I look forward to seeing you next week.
You're listening to the new WPVM LP.